Hello and thanks for clicking on this video. If you're watching this, you're no doubt aware that Microsoft has stopped supporting the Windows 7 operating system. What this means moving forwards is that you'll no longer get any security updates for it, which is obviously not a good thing. Running an outdated operating system is a bit like jumping out of an aeroplane and then later realizing that you've forgotten your parachute. Initially the experience remains the same, but as more time passes the greater the impending doom lying ahead. So what can you do with your old computer that's stuck running Windows 7? Well, one option is to upgrade to Windows 10, and as it just so happens that's the purpose of this video, to take you step by step through the procedure. If there's any issues along the way, hopefully I'll resolve them so that you don't have to. So stick around if you'd like to see how to carry out the upgrade, all completely for free. Microsoft initially offered Windows 10 as a free upgrade to existing Windows 7 users for 1 year. However, they don't appear to have turned the free upgrade off, so even at the time of this recording, some 5 years after Windows 10 was first released, the free upgrade still works. Obviously this could change at any time, but I suspect Microsoft would rather have people running an up-to-date secure operating system than risk people continuing to use an outdated, increasingly insecure system. With that out of the way, let's dig in. Okay, before we get started doing the actual upgrade process, there's a couple of steps I suggest you take ahead of time in case things don't go completely according to plan, because this is a computer after all. So the first one is, I think it's a good idea to get hold of your Windows 7 product key. So that's your Windows license. Now if you've got certain computers, particularly the branded ones, HP, Dell, etc., you may find a sticker on the case of the computer that has the product key on it. If that's not the case, don't worry, because there's a simple tool we can use to retrieve our Windows product key for us. So if you open up a web browser, and we're going to go to winkeyfinder.com, and once there we're going to look in the top menu bar for this download WinKey Finder, and it's version 2.0.5 final at the moment, but whatever that number is, we're going to download that one, the final version. I'm going to scroll down the page till we get to this link for download WinKey Finder 2 final there, and click that. And you can see at the bottom it's now downloading that. So if I minimize the web browser out of the way, and if we launch File Explorer and come into our downloads folder, and there we go, it's a zipped file, so we need to right click on it and extract all, and extract, and that gives us the folder itself. So it's opened it up for us, and we can go into WinKey Finder and double click on there and click run. And there you go, we've now got our Windows product key, so make a note of that and keep it safe. Okay, so you can go ahead and close the WinKey Finder windows and go back to the desktop. Now the second and final step that I recommend that we do before we actually run the upgrade process is to make sure that anything we don't want to lose is backed up. Now the upgrade process itself theoretically shouldn't actually wipe any of your data, but when you're doing a major upgrade like this, it's best not to take any chances, and really backups are a good idea anyway, but specifically when doing such a big upgrade as Windows 7 to 10, then I would highly recommend that you back up anything that you don't potentially want to lose. Now to do this, it depends how much data you need to back up. So to find out, if we click on the taskbar File Explorer and go to Computer and double click the C drive, double click Users, and you'll see in here the username that you log on to the machine with. So in my case that's ByteMyPie. So if we have a look in here, this is the default location where Microsoft will save your documents and folders when you ask it to save things. So unless you tell it to put them anywhere else, by default all of your important files should be in here. So you've got your My Documents, you've got your music, you've got your pictures, you've even got your desktop downloads and favorites. So it's all in here. So to find out how big that is, how much space it's taking up, if we click this left arrow at the top left to go back, right click on the folder and choose Properties. And in my case you can see it's quite small, it's only 232 meg. That's because this is a virtual machine I've set up just for this demonstration. Yours is likely to be far bigger. Now to back this up you're going to want something like a USB stick, or if you've got a lot of data, potentially a USB external hard drive. So find out how much data you've got and then try and lay your hands on a suitable drive to back it up onto. So once you've got the memory stick or external hard drive, plug it into the computer. So I've got a memory stick to demonstrate, so I'm going to plug that in now. So let's connect it. There we go, Windows is beeping. So if we open up a new File Explorer window, drag that to the right, look in Computer, and in a moment hopefully the USB memory, there we go, will show up USB memory stick. So we've got removable disk E. If I drag this other folder to the left, and what I'm going to do, if I double click on my removable disk, and I don't want to copy the entire ByteMyPie user folder because there's a lot of settings and things in there that aren't necessary and not needed. So if we double click on it, and what I'm going to do instead, on the removable disk on the right, I'm going to right click in there and choose new folder, or I could have clicked new folder at the top there, that would have been easier. And I'm going to give this folder a name, so in my case I'm just going to call it ByteMyPie, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to select on the left folder my current data, what I want to keep. So if I hold down the control key, the left control key on my keyboard, while I single left click the folders I want to keep, so I'm going to keep my desktop, my downloads, my favorites, my documents, my music, my pictures and my videos. And when they're all highlighted, if I right click on them and choose copy, and then right click across on my removable drive in the empty space on my memory stick and click paste, and that's just a nice easy bit of copying and pasting, one across to the other, and there you go, that's done already. Obviously you might need to go and have a coffee or leave yours, maybe even a 3-course meal depending on how much data you've got, but just copy that across and back it up to your removable drive. Okay, the time has come, so let's close those windows and let's eject our memory stick with our backup copy on. Okay, so to do this we're going to download Windows Media Creation Tool, so that's to give us a copy of Windows 10 ready to install on our computer. So to do that we're going to open our our web browser back up. We're going to search for Windows Media Creation Tool, and then the top link here, download Windows 10 disk image, that'll do. So click on that, and we've got the Create Windows 10 Installation Media, so we've got this clickable download link to download the tool now, so let's click that. And there we go, it's downloading. So if we minimize the browser out of the way, we're going to go back into our downloads in File Explorer, and you can see that we've got the Media Creation Tool downloaded there. So double click on that, say yes to run it. Let's minimize that window out of the way. Now it's going to go away and assess the state of our computer and check if everything's good to go and we're ready to upgrade. So as you can see, it's getting a few things ready, so I'll pause the video and come back when it's at the next step. Right, so here we are at the license agreement screen, so feel free to scroll down through the agreement and check what you're actually signing up for, and then click accept at the bottom. And again we're back to getting a few things ready. So I'll just pause the video once more and come back in a second. Right, we've reached the next screen, and this one's obviously asking us what we want to do. So we've got two choices here. We can upgrade this computer now, or we can create an installation media on a USB drive, DVD or ISO file for another computer. Now, if you wanted to keep a copy of Windows 10, then you could choose the option to create an installation media, but then unless you come back and run this again to upgrade this PC, you'd then have to boot it from the installation media, and that's a little bit more complicated than just allowing it to upgrade. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to choose upgrade this PC now and click next. And now it's going to go away to Microsoft servers and get the copy of Windows 10 and download it for us, ready to proceed with the installation. So I'll do the waiting so you don't have to, and I'll pause the video and come back when we're ready to install. Okay, you rejoin me as we reach the highly exciting 99% mark. And that's it, it's downloaded, so it's now setting off on verifying the download. I've got a reasonably fast internet fibre broadband connection, and that was still fairly painful. Windows 10 is something of a big beast of an operating system. It's certainly not what you'd call lightweight, hence the time it took to download. As you can see now, it's going through and creating the media for us ready to install. So I'll pause the video again and come back when we're ready to actually install. Okay, so it's moved into the next phase now, and it's checking for updates that might be available for the operating system. So again, this may take a little while. I'll come back in a second. Okay, so the update's finished, and then it ran some further checks making sure it was ready to install, and now we've arrived at this window saying ready to install. You won't be able to use your PC, not that I have been for the last since it started, but other than to do this, but you won't be able to use your PC while the Windows installs. So save and close your files before you begin, and then it's just telling us that we've chosen to install Windows 10 Pro because it was previously on Windows 7 Pro, and we want to keep our personal files and apps as well. So now we can click the install button, and here we go, installing Windows 10. It's just warning us that the PC will restart several times and it might take a while. And again, here we go, it's counting up the percentage. That was quite a quick jump, up to 30%. I suspect it may take a little longer now though, so again I'll pause the video and come back when it gets to the next moment where we need to do something. Right, so we don't need to do anything just yet, but the PC, having ran its course, has just done its first reboot, and now as you can see on the screen it's working on the updates, which again, like the last stage, I think is probably going to take a while as well, so I'll come back when it's complete. Okay, so it's finally finished and it's brought us to this Windows start screen. So either click your mouse or hit enter and you should get the logon prompt. So pop in your password, which will be the same as it was when you were using Windows 7, and press enter. And being Windows 10, one of the first differences you'll notice is that it goes through this, or should I say these sentences telling you what it's doing. So rather than having the old logon where it just, which I actually preferred, where it just sat there for a few seconds until the desktop appeared, now you have to sit through this writing where it's telling you all about what it's actually doing, which, as it says here, can take several minutes. It doesn't usually, but this being the first time, it might take a little bit longer than usual anyway. So it shouldn't take too long, so we'll just wait for it to reach the desktop. Here we go. Yep, it's almost there. And okay, right, yes, before we get to the desktop, obviously I'd forgotten about this bit. It's because it's telling us to set up the computer first, how we want it. So this is effectively a wizard where you choose your privacy options and also what you want the computer to be able to do for you. So obviously read each step and decide what you want to do. So this first one is basically, do you want to use speech recognition, so doing more with your voice, which I'm not bothered about that. So I'm going to just select that box and then click accept. And then this bit is basically talking about letting Microsoft and the various apps built into Windows 10 use your location. So if you're happy for them to know where you are, then leave it on yes, or alternatively select no, which I'm going to do, and then click accept. And then do you want to be able to find your device? So if you lose it, you've got the potential to track it down through, you'd basically be using a Microsoft account to do that. So that's up to you. Again, for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to bother with that, and accept. And do you want to send diagnostic data to Microsoft? Well, I think big companies these days spy on us enough, so I'm not going to encourage it. I'm just going to send basic rather than full, and accept. And do you want to do, basically, if you've got a smart screen that you're going to type, that you're going to write on with a pen. So do you want to improve inking and typing, which I'm not going to bother with that, so I'm going to say no and accept. And get tailored experience in, so do you want the experiences to be tailored more to you, which basically involves sending more data to Microsoft. So again, I'm not going to bother, and accept. And do you want to let apps use advertising ID, which again, I don't want them to. I'm not particularly bothered about customized apps, so I'll say no and accept. And there we go, we're straight into the Windows 10 desktop. So let's close the browser because I don't really want to have a look around at that. And here we go, it's basically adding some new features in the background. I think it just installed a display driver, and if you click down here in the bottom left, you've got the new start menu. You can see here you've got what Microsoft calls live tiles, so as well as the traditional menu down the left, you now get these tiles that supposedly show you more information and display what's going on inside of apps as it happens, hence the live. I'm not personally a fan of these, but you can leave them there if you want. Alternatively, if you don't like them, you can right click on a tile, and either if you don't want the app entirely, you can uninstall it, or you can just select unpin from start and then it disappears. So I tend to go through and unpin each one. On the download arrow, that's because it's basically still setting things up, so it's bringing those apps onto our computer. You can go through, I'll leave the Microsoft Store there just for a moment. Let's unpin the rest. Okay, in fact, yeah, I'll get rid of Microsoft Store as well. Let's close that down, and now if we click in now, this looks more like the start menu of old, which I prefer this layout personally, but each to their own. So that's the Windows 10 start menu. Right, now I just noticed following the upgrade that my display resolution wasn't very good, so while I just paused the video, I adjusted it. So I'll just show you, I think it's because I'm running in a virtual machine, but I'll just show you if your computer does the same, how to adjust the resolution in Windows 10. So if you click start, now we still have the control menu, and if you type control, you can see control panel, so you can still get to the old traditional control panel, but Windows 10 is increasingly moving towards the new settings app. So if you click settings, and in here in system we've got the display. So if you look down this list of the display properties, we've got display resolution, and basically if you click the drop down arrow, you can set the resolution that you prefer, that is best for your display. So just change it in there, and then your display should hopefully look better if yours didn't look very good after the upgrade either. So on the start menu, I did mention briefly earlier the Microsoft Store. I almost didn't remove it off the start menu so I could demonstrate it then, but I'd sooner do it this way. So let's click start and type store, and in here if we click the Microsoft Store, this is effectively Microsoft's It's their answer to, if you've got an Android phone, the Play Store, or an Apple phone with your App Store. This is Microsoft's version of that. There aren't as many apps as in either of those mobile platforms, but this is where Microsoft do put what apps are available. Now, you don't have to use this, you can still just use your traditional Windows software and programs, but if there's anything you are looking for, you might want to come in here and see if it's available. So I think they install the Office apps by default on Windows 10, but let's do a search for Office, and if we scroll down a little bit and you see you've got the apps here. Now these are, a lot of these, the Microsoft ones certainly are paid for because it connects to their Office 365 cloud service, so Microsoft Office on their Azure cloud. But if you want to put them on, if they're not already, you can click into the link and then install them from there. As I say, I think they're already on the computer though, because it's Windows 10. Personally, I would open a web browser, which is Microsoft Edge by default. Again, I would probably install Google Chrome, but from your browser you could search for example, LibreOffice, which is a free Office suite that is actually compatible with Microsoft Office documents. So you could go to the LibreOffice website and download that and install it on your Windows 10 installation completely for free. Obviously, if you had Microsoft Office installed on your Windows 7 installation, it should still be in your start menu. Now you've upgraded to Windows 10, so that shouldn't be a problem anyway if you've already got Office. Right, so just a few more little things before we finish. If you're not familiar with Windows 10, down here at the bottom right you get notifications. So if you click on that, it'll pop up telling you what the computer is doing. So here you can see that this is adding some new features in the background to Windows, and also looks as if it's been searching for a display driver. Again, that'll be to do with the fact that I'm running in a virtual machine. You can click those to close them and come out of there. I'll also just show you that even though we're now running Windows 10 Professional, because we were previously on an activated copy of Windows 7 Professional, if I come into Start and Settings and then we look in Update and Security, we can see under the activation on the left, if we click on that, it tells us here at the top that Windows is activated with a digital license. So we're now running a proper activated copy of Windows 10 Professional, so that's all been successful. I'll also quickly mention a word on accounts in Windows 10. Because we came from Windows 7, we're signed in currently with what's called a local account, which means we're just signed onto this computer itself. In Windows 10, if you come into the settings and go to accounts, you now have the option to sign in with a Microsoft account if you'd rather. So if you were to click that, and if you already have a Microsoft account, or if not, you can create one here. What that does is it allows you to sign in to the computer with your Microsoft account, and then any settings and personalization that you do should follow you to a different computer if you sign into that with the same Microsoft account. So effectively it synchronizes your settings through Microsoft's cloud service. Again, that's personal choice, it's not something I like to do, but the option is there now if you want it. If we close out of settings and just look down in the taskbar at the bottom right, you'll notice a couple of things. We've now got OneDrive built into Windows, which again is Microsoft's cloud storage. So again, if you were to set up a Microsoft account, you have got the facility to synchronize your files from this computer with your OneDrive online Microsoft account, and then if you were to sign into a different Windows computer, you could synchronize and have your files available on a different machine. So you've now got that functionality built into Windows 10. If we just click to the right where we've got this shield, this will open up our security center in settings. So this is a good place to check that everything, that the computer is happy with itself, that there's no issues or problems or virus threat detection. You can see here the only thing it's grumbling about right now is account protection, so it's basically, it would like us to sign in with a Microsoft account rather than a local one, but if you don't want to do that, as I don't, you can click dismiss and then everything's happy with itself. Windows 10 does now have a built-in antivirus, so it's got Windows Defender built into it, so there's no need anymore with this current operating system to be installing third-party antivirus for your protection. It's built into Windows 10, so at least that saves a few pennies. And the only other thing I'd just like to mention before I finish is if we go back into the settings itself, might be quicker to do it through the start menu and settings, and we've obviously done an in-place upgrade from Windows 7 to Windows 10, which seems to have gone relatively well. If things hadn't gone so well, or you'd signed into Windows 10 and it wasn't working properly and not running very well, and things just hadn't gone well at all, you do have the option for so long to roll back to Windows 7, but that's not really a great option, because the whole point of doing this in the first place was that Windows 7 is obviously no longer supported for security updates. So a better option to try would be, if you come into your update and security in the Windows 10 settings, we've got a built-in recovery option, and Windows 10 does have quite a nice feature that Windows 7 never used to have, where you have the facility to reset this PC. Again, even if things are running now, if in the future they're not running too well, you've got this option in here to recover your computer. So in fact, you can see below the option to go back to Windows 7, it's here as well, but so I wouldn't recommend that one. So if for whatever reason, even just to give your PC a fresh start, because as we all know, Windows gets slower and slower the longer you use it, with accumulating junk off the internet, etc. So you've got the option now in Windows 10 to reset this PC. So if you come into here in the settings and into recovery and then click get started, you can literally walk through this, and again, as we did before, you've got the option to keep your files. So doing this reset is going to get rid of any programs you've got installed, assuming they're still there following the Windows 10 upgrade. You may need to reinstall some things anyway. Doing a reset will definitely remove your programs and any settings, but you do have the option to keep your files, or if you're just wanting to start completely afresh to give it a real good new start, you have the option here to remove everything, so at least you've got that choice there, and that will basically set your PC back to factory settings, which is a nice option to have. And again, the remove everything is a really good option, because if you come to sell your computer, if you run that, you've got an option to actually completely wipe it, so that it's relatively safe that all of the files are gone and hopefully not retrievable. So that's built into the operating system, the facility to do that now and remove everything. So I just wanted to show you this quickly before I go, just in case you are having any issues and you want to give your PC a reset in Windows 10 at any point, so that you can give it a new lease of life. So I hope that helps. Let's just close out of that. And that brings us to the end of this video. Good luck with Windows 10. If you don't want to use Microsoft's latest operating system, you do have other options for your old PC or laptop. Check out my video on installing Linux from a USB stick. Linux is an excellent alternative to Windows. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you'd like to be notified when I post the next video, just click the bell icon. Until next time, take care.